¿Quieres mejor internet? Cox Internet de 300 megas tiene las velocidades rápidas y confiables que buscas. Perfecto para streaming y gaming y trabajar desde casa. Todo por solo $45 al mes cuando agregas Cox Mobile. Incluye equipo de Wi-Fi y garantía de precio de 2 años en tu plan. No esperes. Cámbiate hoy a Cox. Requiere Cox Mobile Gig Unlimited. Garantía de precio no incluye impuestos y cargos. Velocidad de datos móviles se reduce después de 20 gigas al mes.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
See, this is why you absolutely must double-check AI. When I did that in the previous segment, and I asked, give me the all-time teams as a 1 seed to be trailing at halftime to a 16 seed, they gave me some false information. They said only 2, and they were wrong with one of them. Louisville did not trail Morehead State as a 1 seed. Princeton did lead Georgetown by 8.
There you go.
Iona did lead North Carolina. They had that one, but Fairleigh Dickinson also led Purdue a couple years ago.
Clean it up, guys.
Come on.
All right.
Get that straight, huh?
Good.
All right, we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. Longtime friend of the show, Jeff Seeley, joins the program now. His podcast is called the Cutmaker Podcast, coming out a little bit later on tonight. Follow him on X at Cutmaker Jeff. All right, we get the Valspar, Jeff, and thanks for popping on as always. What are some of the keys to know for the course heading into it?
Yeah, guys, it's kind of a unique setup this week at Innisbrook. We've got water on 9 holes, which isn't that big of a deal, but it's interesting in that we've got 5 par 3s and 4 par 5s. So it's a little bit unique in that instance. So you want to certainly look at par 3 scoring a little higher than you most a lot of weeks. But overall, I mean, look, this is a good tournament that in the Florida swing that I think course form usually holds pretty well to par here. So I'm excited about this, and a lot of the guys we're going to talk about have had good success here.
All right. So Matt Fitzpatrick nearly pulled it off last week. He did not. But as always, Jeff, we've said this since the pandemic, golf delivers every single week. It was a very dramatic ending between him and Cameron Young. Do you want to run it back with Fitzy this week?
Yeah, guys. I mean, he's 15-1 now, and he took 5th here in 2022. I mentioned course history, and again, as you mentioned, he kind of gave it away at the Players, but his form was really solid, coming in 3rd on approach, 2nd around the greens, and 3rd in total strokes gained in 2026. So he opened at 18-1. He's come down since then, but some people might be surprised to see him as the second lowest name on the board, but I do expect him to bounce back from a late fail last week, and I think he'll be in the conversation on Sunday again. I actually played him, guys. I played him in the each-way market, top 5 each-way market, because I think that's probably the best value this week, opportunity-wise.
Explain to the audience what that means again, Jeff.
Sure. So you can, if you make an each-way bet, let's say it's a $25 each-way bet, it's going to cost you $50, and what it does is it gives you the opportunity to play both, to have the win, so you get paid full if you win. But if your golfer finishes 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, just like say Matt Fitzpatrick did at the Players, then you get paid a fraction, a percentage of that bet, depending on where they finish in the top 5. So it's basically like betting a win and a top 5, only it's just an easier way to do it. So you get paid depending on where they finish in the top 5 as well. So not every book offers it, but Bet365 is one that does, and that's where I bet it this week.
Okay, tell us about some guys who are in great form and what you want to keep riding, because we've talked about many times how current form is important to you.
You're not kidding. And Bridgman this week, guys, looks unbelievable. Jacob Bridgman, T5, T18, win, T8, T18. Those are Jacob Bridgman, who's 22-1 in his last 5 results. His form third here last year, and there was a ton to like about him a lot this week. So in my model coming in total strokes gained in 2026 and second in strokes gained putting. So you can find him go better than 2-1 top 10 in the ties paid full market, and that's the primary way I'm going to bet him and sprinkle a little on the outright.
Okay.
Am I nuts? By the way, I added him as he was winning that tournament a while back this year. I added him, I think, at 151 to win the Masters. What do you think of that?
Yeah, you got. It's a good price. I mean, I like him. I like him a lot, and his form's unbelievable. I'm going to be looking at him also as top rookie in the Masters this year as well. That's another market. A couple of guys like him I'm going to be looking at. And then, guys, we talked about form. I mean, Koepka, I sent out a play on my Telegram channel for Koepka at 42-1 on Sunday. That price has come way. Form looks really good. Last 2 events in Florida, good indicators of what I expect to see more of this week. Last 2 events, he gained over 7 strokes total and an average of 5 strokes on approach. The irons are dialed in. He actually gained almost 3 strokes putting at the Cognizant, but then fell victim to some putting regression last week. So I think back-to-back finishes inside the top 15 are encouraging. He took T12 here last time he played, so I played a little on Koepka on the outright, as I mentioned, at 42-1, and I took a bigger bet, top 20 at plus 120. So like him a lot, and I expect that he's going to win before the Masters. I'm very encouraged with what I've seen out of Koepka.
Good form from Smotherman. What price, and state the case for Smotherman?
Yeah, guys, I mean, he ranks 9th in my model, and there's a ton to like. 7th in total strokes gained, 4th in good drive percentage, 11th on approach in 2026, finished T13 at the Players, 2nd at the Cognizant, and T8 at the American Express this year. So he's got shown form all over the country. Putting is not great, but if he can get just a little like he did at the Cognizant, I think he could be in for a big week. I played him top 20 plus 180 and a little on the outright, and I love his Sasatune this week. I played him early Monday morning at 50-1, and the prices come crashing down all the way to 35. The reason is pretty simple. He comes in 3rd tee to green, 9th off the tee, 9th on approach, 5th in ball striking. His last 5 events, he's made every cut and has 3 finishes inside the top 15. So he's not a good putter, but if he can have some spike putting weeks like we saw at the Pebble and the Waste Management, if he can have a spike putting week there, look out. Love him, top 20 as well. I bet him at plus 150.
Give us a couple bombs.
Sure, guys. Billy Horschel, Billy Ho, comes in 3rd in total strokes gained at this course over the last 5 years. He makes for an amazing bomb play this week. Took 5th at this event last year and 12th in 2024. And now we get him off at T13 at the API where he putted the lights out. I got Billy Ho at 110-1. I'm going to play him top 20. And another guy, all the things I said about his Sasatune, you could say about David Ford, who's 130-1. Comes in 9th tee to green, 10th off the tee, 3rd on approach, 2nd in ball striking in 2026. Really amazing stats for a guy who's 130-1. Has 2 top 20s already this year, so I can see a path to a top 20 again. His top 20 price is plus 340. So him and Billy Ho both at better than 3-1. I love a top 20 plays.
All right, buddy. Great breakdown as always. Thanks so much for the time. And the Cupmaker podcast is coming out a little bit later on tonight. Good luck in the golf and with the tournament this week, okay?
Thanks, fellas. Take care.
Jeff Seeley on the Progressive guest line. Okay, so when's the last time you shot hoops, by the way? Been under 4.5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm trying to think when we did when I played that WNBA player one-on-one.
Oh my God, that's 15 years at least.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, gotta be.
And then when did I do it? I did a 3-point contest too for the radio station.
If we go out,
I can shoot.
What?
I used to be able to shoot.
So, I actually shot hoops the other night.
Okay.
Yeah. And let me tell you, it was first time in a while. I looked like Texas and NC State last night.
Yeah.
The ball was not exactly dropping right away. Now, eventually the muscle memory came back and shots were dropping more frequently later on as I was shooting around. But how long do you think it would take for you to pick up your shot? Because, Paul, I had not shot a basketball in quite some time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hope nobody's watching me right now because there was brick after brick after brick to begin. I'm not David Deneen, who's like,
yeah, no,
that dude who's in the contest here at VSiN with the college. He won it actually a couple years ago. He goes out like every single year and he takes video of making 10 threes in a row. He does it every single year.
What if you don't golf for like 5 years?
Forget it.
Would your swing,
Forget it.
Your tee shot be atrocious?
Oh, my
and everything?
God. Okay. Way worse than Obear looked the other day.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is like riding a bike.
Yeah.
I have not ridden a bike in a while. I can ride a bike right now if I had to hop on one. Go out there and put a 5-iron within 4 feet of the hole. Not happening. Drain a 27-footer like the old days. I'm not Al Bundy.
I won a Knights of Columbus free throw shooting contest once. Walked up, no warm-ups, hit 14 in a row, 14 of 15, and won it.
Very good.
That was that.
You were how old?
Boy, that was high school, I think.
Yeah.
But that's
maybe even younger than that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I can understand. I can see that though. If I go out right now, and how ugly it would be.
Yes.
Probably guaranteed airball. If you're serious about betting this March, meet Edge Boost, the Visa debit card and bank account built specifically for gamers. No more declined deposits, no waiting on bank transfers. Edge Boost gives you real-time access to your funds 24/7, 365, even on nights, weekends, and holidays. Use it across your favorite books and DFS platforms. Earn up to 0.5% cash back on eligible deposits and access up to $1 million in daily deposit limits. No fees and no minimums. New users sign up with code VEASAN, and Edge Boost will match your first deposit up to $50. Smarter way to manage your gaming bankroll. EdgeBoost.bet, code VEASAN. EdgeBoost.bet, code VEASAN to get started today.
So what happens if they expand the tournament and we have more games like yesterday and today?
You like Human's idea?
Play one in Vegas each night?
Yes. Cap it off in Vegas?
Well, here's the thing.
It's not bad. I don't know if I agree with him. I'm not saying this is a lock that they're going to expand. There's too much pushback and there's too many bad teams that would get in. Look at Auburn. Who wanted to see Auburn in a tournament? I mean, they were first 4 out. They were game over 500.
Even money, I would bet they're going to expand.
I'm not sure about it. I don't think that's a good number.
Win-lose up next. Bruce Pearl was on VEASAN by the books this morning and discussed his most vulnerable number 1 seed in the tournament. Hear it next.
¿Quieres mejor internet? Cox Internet de 300 megas tiene las velocidades rápidas y confiables que buscas. Perfecto para streaming y gaming y trabajar desde casa. Todo por solo $45 al mes cuando agregas Cox Mobile. Incluye equipo de Wi-Fi y garantía de precio de 2 años en tu plan. No esperes. Cámbiate hoy a Cox. Requiere Cox Mobile Gig Unlimited. Garantía de precio no incluye impuestos y cargos. Velocidad de datos móviles se reduce después de 20 gigas al mes.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Hey, let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. It's March, which means the madness is officially upon us, and the folks at VEASAN have gone crazy with this one. For $29.99, you get unlimited access to VEASAN Pro through May 1st. I'm talking picks throughout the tournament, public betting data for every single game, sharp tools, projections, articles, and more, which means every day you wait is an opportunity missed. Just click the link in the description to get started. It's March, baby. Now back to the show.
Welcome in. Follow the Money is brought to you by ProfitX, and right now you can compete to become the King of March and win free trips up to $10,000. Download the ProfitX app and use the code VEASANMM. You know, Paulie, there are so many ways to attack the tournament with your different bets that you have. You can get into Calcuttas. You can have future bets, the first half stuff, obviously. Survivor has taken off and like wildfire. and it's bigger and better than ever this year. We're going to tell you about what we're doing with Splash Sports coming up in about 10 minutes. But right now we go out to the Progressive Guest Line as Adam Burke joins the program now. He is the managing editor of vsin.com, and the content that we have available right now is just as good as it's ever been. So many things to read about, including what I just tweeted out right now, and it is Adam's blueprint to playing in a survivor pool. Happy Madness, Adam. We appreciate it. I have done this twice before, and I loved it, but it is the strategy here for playing in a March Madness Survivor tournament is off the charts. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, in theory, right, in the NFL, you have 32 teams at your disposal on a weekly basis, right? Now, obviously, there are bye weeks in the mix and all of that, but, you know, I mean, you could theoretically take the Browns if you wanted to. You could take, you know, one of the other doormat teams that's out there, the Cardinals or somebody like that. You don't want to, but they are at least an option for you. In the NCAA tournament, there are a lot of teams that are simply not an option for you. You know, you're not going to take a 15 over a 2, a 16 over a 1. Even a 14 over a 3 is really, really scary. And you're going to have a lot of coin flip games too. So, you know, when you talk about March Madness Survivor, you're going to make 10 picks over 6 rounds, at least based on the format that we have in that Splash Sports contest that you mentioned. And, you know, taking 10 teams, right? How many teams can actually get to the national championship game? How many teams can actually get to the Final Four? You have to save those teams as long as you possibly can. The number 1 and ideally the number 2 seeds as well, until at least the Elite Eight, if not, you know, the Final Four. And of course, you know, hoping that you have one or both of the national championship game teams. So it is a very, very strategy heavy type of contest.
What do you think's considered too soon to use a good team? Can I use a good team right off the bat, or is that risky business?
I mean, I guess, you know, look, it's kind of relative, right? It depends on what you think a good team is. So, like, for example, you know, I would look at this, and what I wrote about in my Blueprint article is, you know, I would take Wisconsin on Thursday against High Point, right? Are they a good team? Mm-hmm. I think so. Are they a team that could make a deep run? Certainly could. But when you look at their path throughout the NCAA tournament, they're likely to get Arkansas in the next round. I want no part of taking Wisconsin in a survivor format against Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Then they would play Arizona in all likelihood. And then as you kind of go on, they'd probably face either Purdue or Gonzaga. Not excited about that. So Wisconsin is a pretty good team, right? I mean, they are a 5 seed, which is obviously scary in that 12-5 game, but they're a 5 seed. They're a team that plays a high variance style of game. They could make a deep run, but this is probably the best place to use them and their clearest favorite role, if not their only favorite role, as we go throughout the course of the tournament. So, you know, if you think Wisconsin's a good team, but you've got to take them now, then I think that's fine. I think Kansas on Friday is a good option against Cal Baptist, because I don't want to play them against St. John's or whoever else they may face as they go forward. So are those good teams, quote unquote? You could say so. Are they great teams? No. Are they elite teams? No. So it's about saving really the elite and the really great teams for as long as you can.
Sure. And maybe you can use a team that you would think is pretty good to win, that would be a substantial favorite in round 1, but you also just don't think their ceiling is very far at all. Like, you think they're maybe one and done, or maybe they go Sweet 16, but that's it. You want nothing to do with them beyond round 1.
Yeah, and for example, I think the easiest pod to kind of talk about that type of thought is in the Midwest, where you got the 5-12, Texas Tech, Akron, and then Alabama, Hofstra, where, you know, Texas Tech, I mean, first of all, if they had JT Toppin, they'd be higher than a 5 seed. But, you know, the fact that they don't, and the fact that Christian Anderson got banged up, Texas Tech is not a team that I'd really be confident in going forward. I don't even know if they're going to beat Akron, though. And similarly, Alabama with Aiden Holloway now, you know, dismissed from campus and, you know, not going to play at least here in the first round. We'll see if Nate Oates can work some magic going forward. But, you know, even against Hofstra now, Alabama as a 14.5-point favorite, I probably would have went, yeah, okay, that's an interesting one. I'll kind of look into that. But then the line goes back to 11.5 with Holloway out. And you're like, this one's a little bit dicier. So those are two teams that should win. The odds suggest that they should win. I wouldn't want to take them going forward, but you've got, you know, a key injury and a key suspension there that, you know, kind of throws a bit of a wrench into everything.
Yeah. Paul, what happened last year? All 4 ones made it, but didn't you say this on Monday that a lot of people burned Duke already, and then they were forced to use Houston in the Final Four because they didn't have, and they got bailed out on that miraculous win?
Yes. Yes.
And then they had Florida still in their back pocket.
Yeah.
So think about that last year and how it went. What's the the lowest seeded team that you'd be willing to save this year for a deep run?
I mean, the way that I set it up in the Blueprint article, I set it up. First of all, it's tough, right? Because I'm assuming as I plan this thing out that the chalk holds up, right? I'm assuming that you don't all of a sudden have a really good team facing a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16, something like that, to where that becomes, maybe a little bit more obvious of a pick for you to make. But I'm desperately trying to hold on to all the number ones and the number twos, at least into the Elite Eight, and then kind of go from there would be what I would try to do personally from a strategy standpoint. Now, of course, keep in mind too, you can have multiple entries in most of these Survivor contests, right? So you can take a different kind of approach based on, what you want to do with your entry. You could take a more conservative approach and try to keep the ones and twos as long as you can. You could take maybe a little bit more of a risky approach where if an Arizona gets beat in the Sweet 16, as they do a lot under Tommy Lloyd, like maybe you've got to use them early. Maybe you use them against Villanova or Utah State. And then if they lose in the Sweet 16, all of a sudden you're sitting pretty because you used them already. You got your value out of them. And everybody else who has them available can't use them anymore.
Sure.
So there are times you can take some calculated risks, especially if you have more than one entry in a Survivor field.
Yeah. I love in your story at vsin.com, I love how you plan it all out, broke it down, why you're doing this, why you're going to save these teams, why you wanted to use certain teams in different rounds. And as you said, though, using multiple brackets is probably the best way to go because they can blow up, Paulie, forcing a person to pivot. And like contingency plans must be ready to go. You have to have them ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. I also believe it was in his article using the example last year where so many people used Duke. And so you had to step out and take Houston, and then that worked out too. Because it was going back to how many people were going to split the pot if it went to form. And it was, because remember, as we talked about, there weren't upsets. But so many people opted Duke, and the people that stepped out and said, oh, I guess I'll take Houston. That worked out for him.
I think Adam's rejoining us right now on the Progressive Guest Line. Adam Burke, managing editor, vsin.com. I have brought up the point this week. I prefer to play Survivor, anything, like NFL this week, with a partner because good chance I'm going to be missing something or not, thinking about every possible angle here. They might bring something up that I don't see. I might bring something up that they don't see. Are you kind of the lone wolf out there playing Survivor contests, or do you also like a partner?
No, I mean, I think that certainly having a partner helps, right? It's a bit of a system of checks and balances. And, again, I mean, the thing about the NCAA tournament is there's a lot of emotional appeals that come into play. And, if you're worried too much about like a buzzer beater, maybe a team gets lucky and then you don't want to back them in that next game, something like that. Like you have somebody who can either be a voice of reason or at least a little bit of a different opinion and help you kind of talk those things through. Also, like with the NFL, we all know the NFL, right? I mean, we all know these teams, we all know these players, we all know these situations, the coaches, how all these teams match up, stuff like that. In college basketball, it's not as simple, So if you're somebody who hasn't been following college basketball since November, like several of us have been over at vsin.com, writing daily articles, like maybe having somebody like that you could partner with is a really big help to you because they've been paying attention all the way through. Whereas there's probably a lot of people that just picked it up, after the Super Bowl in mid-February, something like that. So maybe that's somebody who's going to know a little bit more about the teams than you're going to, especially those mid-majors and kind of avoiding those landmines in the first round. So I always think it's good. And also, if you want to have multiple entries, right, you kind of spread your risk out a little bit by having a partner or two or three. And, everyone's investment is, equal, but not as much as it would be if you were doing 4, 5, 6 entries on your own. So that's definitely a positive too.
Yep. You also wrote about a couple of different NIT plays tonight. What do you like?
Yeah, so the NIT was interesting last night. Underdogs went 7-1 against the number. UNC Wilmington's actually a team I threw a little bit on at 100-1, and they wound up knocking off Yale last night. And, a lot of this is about motivation, right? This is kind of bowl season light to some degree of some of these teams in the NIT have absolutely no interest in being there. None whatsoever. They lost their conference championship game, some of them losing it on Sunday and then having this quick turnaround to play a team they don't care about, a team that they have not scouted, a team that they have not planned for at all whatsoever. That was part of the reason why I took UNC Wilmington last night.
Yeah.
But, I think a team like Dayton, for example, today, like, I don't know how they're invested in this game, right? I mean, first of all, they're the higher seed in the NIT than Bradley, but because the first four is in their own arena, the NCAA tournament is in their own arena, and they have to go play on the road because they can't use it. And they should be in the NCAA tournament in their minds because they got to the championship game in the A-10. I don't know how they have any investment whatsoever in this game against Bradley. I don't know if the players were asked if they wanted to play in the NIT or not, but also it's spring break at the University of Dayton. If you're not in the NCAA tournament and you've got some NIL money to burn, you'd rather be in PCB or Destin or somewhere else, not playing in Peoria, Illinois against Bradley in the NIT. Yeah. So I don't think Dayton shows up at all tonight. I like Bradley plus the points and on the money line. And the other thing that we see in the NIT is defense goes out the window, tempo speeds up a little bit. So the other play that I made is Kent State and Illinois State over 153.5.
Very good, Adam. Great analysis. Thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate that. Best of luck.
Have a good one, guys.
I misspoke earlier, but I meant Yale. That was a horrible spot.
Oh, yeah.
You just lost as a 10-point favorite in overtime, and now you got to turn around and play in the NIT.
You will learn more about this outstanding Survivor contest at Splash coming up. And I'll tell you, ACC teams are on a 19-5 run in this spot. ATS coming up next.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Hardcore Hoops. This show is brought to you by Profit X. Right now, King of March is giving you a shot at free trips worth up to $10,000 just for betting the tournament. Download the Profit X app and use the code VSiNMM. We begin this hour going out to the Progressive guest line, longtime college basketball handicapper and bettor Bruce Marshall with Wager Talk and Gold Sheet joins the program. Hey, Bruce, good afternoon. Thanks for the time, pal. How are you?
I am good. They've already got going with the tournament, and it'll really ramp up the next few days.
Yeah, we'll get to your first round picks that you like coming up in a minute. However, we do have the NIT, and you love digging your hands in the trash with some of these games and teams overall. St. Joe's, Colorado State, two decent programs, however, and the Hawks catching about 6 tonight against the Rams. What do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, St. Joe's might think it's playing on the moon tonight. They usually don't get too far out of their time zone. They had one game in the central time zone, St. Louis, but out here to the mountain time zone, this is odd for them. However, I got really disappointed in CSU at the end of the season there, Mitch. We got all excited about the Rams. They had that 8-game win streak. But they blew that game at home against Boise, and I think that really was a psychological blow to the team. The reason was they were in position, if they won that game, they would have skipped the first round of the Mountain West tournament right into the quarterfinals. Instead, they lose that game at home. They don't play that well, and they're into the first round. They got an extra game to play in Vegas, and they were very flat, lucky to escape against Fresno. And then they just didn't have it against San Diego State. 3-point shooting was really good for these guys for most of the season. And I thought Kyle Jorgensen coming back from injury, the 6'8" forward, he really allowed them to do some great spacing. And that was great for all those shooters. And they really, Farouk Benesh really spreads the floor well. The 3-point shooting dried up the last few games. And against San Diego State, they only made one 3-pointer. One thing St. Joe's does, they run guys, shooters on the perimeter. They only allow about 31% on 3-pointers. This is Steve Donahue. He came in there after Billy Lang took the NBA assistant job there in September. So he's sort of a late, he was promoted there, but he'd been a head coach before at several of the programs in the East. And St. Joe's ain't all that bad. I think they got a shot to win this game, and certainly plus 5.5, 6. Yeah, I'll fly with the Hawks tonight in Fort Collins.
Great breakdown, good analysis. How about Nevada 7.5 against Murray State?
You know, Paulie, there was a time this season that I thought Murray State was a team to beat in the Missouri Valley. I mean, they were sitting there at 16-3. High-powered offense, and they looked like they were really rolling. Again, though, sometimes these teams, you get mid-season, they start to lose their bearings, their legs go dead, and down the stretch, 4-9, their last 13, and kind of out with the whimper in the Missouri Valley tournament at Arch Madness 2 weeks ago. So they don't bring a lot of momentum into Reno tonight. Again, an odd sort of trip to Reno, and I thought the Wolfpack started to look really good at the end of the season there. And one extra note here with Steve Alford, if he can make this run with the Wolfpack all the way to the Final Four. Again, it's in Indianapolis. That's, he's a hero back there from his days at Indiana. They're going to play the Final Four of the NIT at the Pacers Arena instead of Butler, but there's a motivation there for Alford to get there. I kind of like Nevada at the end of the year. I know they hit a hot Utah State, but I think if they pull away tonight from Murray State, it just didn't look like it was playing at all at the end of the season. Wolfpack tonight to Howell in Reno.
All right, let's go to the tournament. And there's a lot of games you like on Thursday. The early game, Troy catching a bunch against Nebraska. Nebraska never won a game in the tournament. Troy beat San Diego State and lost a 3-overtime thriller against USC in the non-con. What do you think with the Trojans catching all these points?
Yeah, and they beat UAB too. I mean, this is an interesting side. Nebraska, though, I mean, listen, I had a 50-year-old bet here. Who would the Seattle Mariners get to the World Series first, or would Nebraska win an NCAA tournament game? No answer to that. 50 years on. So they're 49 years on. So will this be the year we get an answer? Nebraska's chance here to finally win a game. Hoiberg didn't do it 2 years ago. They got whipped by Texas A&M in the first round. I think Nebraska has got a lot to worry about here. First of all, again, we talked about teams tiring at the end of the year. Look at Price Sandefur's shooting numbers. They really started to dip toward the end of the season. Tired legs, it looked like. Nebraska, 20-0 into mid-February, 6-6 since. Now, this is a test case for a team losing momentum at the end of the season. What does it mean? Sometimes it doesn't mean a lot. Sometimes it means everything. This is a pretty long period of ineffectiveness for Nebraska. It just wasn't working the same for them. They took some heavy losses, the UCLA loss, the Purdue loss. And you mentioned Troy. Listen, that game, they should have beat USC that game, and that's when USC was good back in there, and they won that game at San Diego State. And this is Scott Cross, who's won a lot of games in his career. He's got everybody in that team can shoot threes. Low teens price, definitely Troy. I'd consider this on the money line as one of the real flyers to take in the first round.
All right, follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Bruce Marshall, longtime college basketball handicapper and bettor, our guest, and he is with Wager Talk and also the Gold Sheet. Okay, so I haven't heard one person make the case for Louisville. A couple things on this game. It's all been South Florida. The number has also come down from 6.5 to 4.5, and there's no Brown here for the Cardinals. Is South Florida still worth a bet despite the line moving 2 points?
Yeah, although some of the value's gone, but I mean, that's because Brown, now that he's scratched from this game, and he means something. I mean, and he missed some games this year, and I thought, Louisville's pattern this season started to get a little bit erratic once Brown, had that back injury, and he missed 8 games earlier, and then he's missed these last 4. They shoot a lot of threes, and that is a recipe to get knocked out early in the tournament. If you're hot, you're hot. If you're not, you're not. That's the old Charles Barkley statement: live by the 3, die by the 3. Louisville takes so many threes. And South Florida, I'll tell you what, they were down the stretch. Clearly the best team in the American, took care of Wichita with no problem in the finale. South Florida's live here. And I know I would rather have 6.5 than 4.5, but I would rather have 4.5 with no Brown than 6.5 with Brown in there for Louisville. Give me the Bulls.
Okay. The first person I heard make the case for St. Mary's. How about St. Mary's against A&M?
Well, here's the old tortoise in the hare analogy. And, talk about, pace and tempo. Buckyball only knows how to go one way, and it's up and down the court. And, all those portal ads in there. But teams started to figure out Texas A&M as the season progressed. And we saw it even in the, the SEC tournament when Oklahoma let them have it pretty good. So I don't know that they're going to be able to detonate that and speed up St. Mary's here. St. Mary's really hits the glass hard. They're, I think, 3rd or 4th in the country in rebound margin, plus 11. 2 7-footers play. And that's McKeever and Wessels, but Morauskas is on NBA radar. 6'8", 19 points per game scorer, can shoot out on the perimeter. He could be a high usage guy in the NBA. I think he's going to be a late first round pick. And the other guards, I mean, Dent and Mikey Lewis have really played very well down the stretch as well. I think St. Mary's gets them here. There's people I've talked to in the West Coast Conference who think this actually might be Randy Bennett's best team. And he's had a lot of good ones, and they weren't saying that up till midseason. But the way they played down the stretch, I'd excuse the loss to Santa Clara because Santa Clara is really good.
Yeah.
The Gonzaga game, that's the one when they beat Gonzaga. That was the warning shot to the rest of the field. St. Mary's wins this game, and I think maybe handily.
Okay. And Vandy and McNeese, the 5-12. McNeese won a game last year. Can they do it again?
I don't think so, although McNeese is interesting. It's a good story. They brought Bill Armstrong back. He was assisting Will Wade, then he went to Baylor for a year. They brought him back when Wade took the NC State job. Wade took a couple guys with him up there to Raleigh. There are a couple guys left over from that team last year, but he did a nice job in the portal. He brought in Archie from Tulsa and a freshman, Larry Johnson, who's really good. Now, everything for McNeese comes off of pressure, though, and I think this is a bad matchup for McNeese, though, because Vanderbilt could pick them apart. They take care of the ball very well. They're very good on the ball. Tyler Tanner in particular. Duke Miles, he came back a couple weeks ago. He missed about a month with that knee. It gives him a lot more athleticism and explosiveness. But the fact they take care of the ball so well, the fact they pass the ball so well, I think they will deal with what McNeese does best. And you take that away from McNeese and the ability to disrupt the opponent. I saw McNeese back in November in person up at Santa Clara. Santa Clara did the same thing to them. They kept control of the ball. They didn't turn the ball over, and McNeese just couldn't do anything about it. Vandy does the same thing. They will stretch this margin. I'd lay the points at the doors.
Let me run this by both of you guys. And Bruce, we have about a minute and a half left here. TNT just showed something that SMU head coach Andy Edfield, his point guard, BJ Edwards, they said that he was going to be back for the game tonight. Now he just said that it's going to be actually a game time decision. It's going to depend on how he feels actually before tip time. Have you done anything with this game yet, Bruce?
I made a pick and I made a write-up with SMU. Assuming that Edwards is going to play. Darn that Andy Enfield. It's that SC thing about him. Those guys who were at SC for a while, you can't trust them, I guess. But for everything we had heard, he's probably going to play here. And that gives him, a three with Pierre and Boopy Miller. That's a good three-pronged attack in the backcourt. But even if he doesn't play, I mean, this number, maybe it'll drop a little bit. But listen, I like the Miami O story this year. And it's not necessarily inconsistent to say, yes, they belong in the tournament, but no, I don't think they're going to win this game. They were struggling with everybody in the MAC the last half of the season. SMU's a lot better than those teams. SMU's been playing in the ACC. I think Edwards is going to play tonight. That's my gut feel from what I've been told. And I think SMU extends this margin. We'll see.
Okay. Bruce, thank you. Best of luck this week.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Bruce, thank you.
That's why they made the tournament.
I know.
They thought he was coming back, and they excused the losses.
Sure, yeah. We'll expand on that game coming up next. And teams from this conference are 12-48 straight up, 16-41-3, ATS since 2001.
¿Quieres mejor internet? Cox Internet de 300 megas tiene las velocidades rápidas y confiables que buscas. Perfecto para streaming y gaming y trabajar desde casa. Todo por solo $45 al mes cuando agregas Cox Mobile. Incluye equipo de Wi-Fi y garantía de precio de 2 años en tu plan. No esperes. Cámbiate hoy a Cox. Requiere Cox Mobile Gig Unlimited. Garantía de precio no incluye impuestos y cargos. Velocidad de datos móviles se reduce después de 20 gigas al mes.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
good to have you on board. We're live in Vegas for the Madness. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. We go out to the Progressive guest line. VSiN host Matt Youmans joins the program now. Great write-up on the website, vsin.com. A ton of plays that he likes for the first round of the tournament. Matt, let's begin here. We were just rattling off how awful and ugly it's been for the Mountain West going back a good quarter century. San Diego State's run changed that a little bit a couple years ago, but for the most part, it has been vile and nasty. So what did you do with Utah State and Villanova in that 8-9 matchup?
Yeah, the Mountain West definitely down this year, there's no doubt about it. But the Big East was too. And Villanova, if you watch the Big East tournament, got punked by Georgetown, lost that game by 14. I don't think this Villanova team's anything special. It's an advantage for Utah State to play this game in familiar territory in San Diego. And I like the veteran guards for Utah State. MJ Collins, Mason Falslev, I think they're going to be enough to carry Utah State to the win here. And it's interesting, too, when you look at home road splits for teams where you're trying to handicap who's going to play well on neutral courts. The best records on neutral courts for tournament teams this season: Arizona 7-0, Purdue 7-0, Utah State 6-0. So I don't have that much concern about the Aggies performing in San Diego.
Good analysis. All right. How about Queens catching all these points? And I think this will be a common theme with some of your plays where you expect a hangover against the team they're playing coming off a big conference tournament run.
Yeah, you look at that every year, and those teams that win the Power Conference tournaments have to play 3 games in 3 days, or in Purdue's case, 4 games in 4 days, have to have a hangover. Might be fatigued as well. And Purdue's getting a lot of support in the betting market right now off that Big Ten tournament win. A lot of people saying they rediscovered themselves, preseason #1 team, watch out. Well, let's just handicap this game. Matt Painter is going to have a big lead at some point, you would assume. He's going to want to rest his starters in the second half and prepare for that second-round game against Miami or Missouri. And this Royals team, Queens out of North Carolina, is going to play – they're going to sign up for all 40 minutes here. They got 6 double-figure scorers.
Yep.
They shoot lots of threes. They got guys who can score. Hey, look, they were blown out early in the season against Arkansas, Auburn, Villanova, Virginia, Wake Forest. That was a long time ago. And this team's playing much better now. I think this is going to be a 90-70 type of game. This 25.5 line's too high.
I agree. I'm with you. Same thing, Hawaii and Arkansas?
Well, yeah, Arkansas put a lot into winning that SEC tournament in Nashville. And they spent the last few days celebrating, hearing how great they are. And now they got to travel to Portland to play a Hawaii team they probably don't have a lot of respect for, but don't know a lot about, obviously. But the Rainbow Warriors, I think, can hang in this game. And Darius Acuff is going to be a challenge for Hawaii, but this is a big number of 15.5. And I think the hangover is going to be a factor here. She might want to look at Hawaii first half as well. But Hawaii's a well-coached team, solid on the defensive end of the floor. And they've got a big lineup. Hawaii starts 7 foot, 6'9", 6'8", 6'6", 6'3", and their 6'6" senior guard Dre Bullock is a dynamic athlete who can hang with Acuff here. So I think there's a lot of points, and Hawaii's going to hang around.
Okay, this also applies in the St. John's game as they're taking on Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa's been very popular. I know that you're on them. Does that scare you at all?
That was one of the first bets I made was Northern Iowa plus 11.5, and I'm seeing it's down to 9.5 on a lot of spots. But you know what? There's always going to be popular dogs. You just have to stick with the ones you like the most, and not worry too much. Some of those are going to win, some are not. But I'm not worried about Panthers being a hot dog here. I think this is a tough assignment for Rick Pitino and the Red Storm. Off that Big East tournament win, that UConn game was their Super Bowl. They wanted to win that so bad.
Uh-huh.
They win it. Mm-hmm. Now they get shipped to San Diego, and they got to play the Missouri Valley champs, who are tough and who are going to play at a slow pace. You look at Northern Iowa, 24th in defensive efficiency, and how about this, number 363 in tempo? That's out of 365 teams. That's from Ken Palm. So you're going to turn this game into a grinder. Reduce possessions, shorten the game. That's a formula for the underdog. I think the Red Storm, who I have going to the Final Four, and I bet them going to the Sweet 16 at plus 110, I think the Red Storm are going to have to sweat this one out.
North Dakota State, good from 3, deep, 6 guys can score. How about all those points against Sparty?
Yeah, it's the same thing I looked at with the Summit League championship team. The issue I have here is they never stepped up in class. Bison never stepped up in class this season, so we didn't get to compare them against any elite opponents. But they have good size on the front line. shoot 36.5% from three. And I think they can give the Spartans a little bit of a fight here. Look, Michigan State goes through scoring droughts. Jeremy Fears, Cohen Carr are going to carry the Spartans to a win eventually here. But the more I look at this game, I just see it being a Michigan State by 10, 12, 14, something like that. I'm going to take the 16.5 with North Dakota State.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. VSiN host Matt Youmans, our guest. You can also read his write-up on all of his bets in the first round at the website, vsin.com. Mike Palm came on last hour, made his case for Clemson. You're on Iowa, though. Why?
Well, Mike Palm's from Iowa, and I think he's a cynic about the Hawkeyes, right?
Yeah.
And, I understand that. But I like this Hawkeyes team. Bennett Sturts, the senior guard, who's one of the best guards in college basketball. And if you look at this Iowa team, it's well-rounded. They defend. They shoot it well. Tell me this matters in a close game. Iowa shoots 77% from the free throw line. That's one of the best marks in the country. And they have a lot of experience on this team. They played a lot of close games against elite opponents. Tigers, I don't think they're going to be punked here. But this is not one of Coach Brad Brownell's best teams at Clemson. I wasn't really impressed by the way they played in the ACC tournament in general. And I will say that you guys have probably talked about this, but Big Ten teams went 8-0 against the spread in last year's first round. And I think started last year's tournament 10-0 ATS. I expect Iowa to get the win here behind Bennett Sturts. This is a well-coached team. They're going to slow the pace, and they're going to find a way to win it.
All right, one Big Ten team that you're not on, though, the way it looks, is going to be Nebraska. Paulie and I are both on Troy as well. Why are you fading the Cornhuskers?
This is the absolute first bet I made Sunday was Troy plus 14. Numbers come down a little bit, but not that much. I just talked about Iowa being a well-coached team. Troy's an exceptionally well-coached team. And if you don't know much about them, they're the Sun Belt champs. Scott Cross is their coach. He's really, really good. And I remember watching this team early in the season, and Troy beat San Diego State 108-107 in double overtime. That was in San Diego. 2 days later, lost 107-106 in triple overtime at USC. Troy, I think here is I thought should be about a 10-point dog. I made the number like 10, 10.5, so I took 14. But the problem with Nebraska, which has never won an NCAA tournament game, is not history. It's the fact that Cornhuskers have been fading down the stretch. They were 20-0, 6-6 in their last 12 games, nowhere near playing their best basketball. Purdue punked Nebraska easily in the Big Ten tournament. I think Troy could be live to win this game, so this is one double-digit dog I really like.
All right, and how do you want to deal with the issues at Alabama? You think Hofstra's live here?
I think Hofstra and Troy are both live to win the game as big dogs.
All right.
And again, you take Aiden Holloway out of that Alabama lineup, and that's a big deal. He's probably their second best player. 16.8 points, 44% from three. He's the top shooter by 3-point percentage. And Hofstra is a 24-win team that shoots it well. 37% from three, 74% free throws. And they have a lead guard, Cruz Davis, 20 points a game, 40% from three, who can take advantage of Holloway's absence here. Hofstra 11-1 in the last 12 games, won big road games against Pitt and Syracuse in December. And not only is a Holloway absence going to be a big deal, that's a big distraction for that team this week. So Hofstra, Troy, a couple of the big dogs I like the most.
Matt, I made my case yesterday to bet a prop that is 22-3 under the listed number. That was at the Westgate anyway, at 45.5, and that is largest margin of victory in the first round. What do you make of that?
I heard you talk about that yesterday in your show, and I said, that sounds too good to be true. That's unreal. And I looked it up last night, and I said, I'm playing this too. I played it under 45.5. Hey, the biggest favorites in the first round, Arizona and Michigan, are each laying 31 points. And again, it gets back to these top seeds. When they get a big lead in the first round, why would you want to beat a team by 50? You got to rest your starters. There's no need to win by 45, 50 points. And I was surprised this number is this high. I thought, Mitch, it was going to be right around 40.5. I feel like you're getting extra points here. This is not the women's tournament where teams are going to win by 60. Yeah. So I like that prop quite a bit.
Good job. Yeah. Good luck. Thanks for a few minutes. Good luck.
Okay. You bet. Thanks.
He's got more. He's got a plethora of plays up. Read the article, vsin.com. We retweeted it. They retweeted it. It's all up there. And he's got props. He's got futures. He's got more games he likes. He's on the Bulls as well. Check it out, vsin.com. We're brought to you by ProfitX. King of March gives you a shot at free trips worth up to $10,000. Win 10 pregame spreads or totals across the tournament. Hit your volume goal and you're in. 1,000 in volume, you're entered for the 5K trip. 10,000 enters you for the 10K trip. Flights, hotels, your choice of destination, all on ProfitX. Download the app, use code VSINMM. Compete to become the King of March only on ProfitX. Code VSINMM. King of March, ProfitX. Get it now.
Let's follow the money here on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network, live in Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is your spot. Up next, we'll recap our bets from last night and tell you what we've added to the accounts in pocket plays here on VSIN.
¿Quieres mejor internet? Cox Internet de 300 megas tiene las velocidades rápidas y confiables que buscas. Perfecto para streaming y gaming y trabajar desde casa. Todo por solo $45 al mes cuando agregas Cox Mobile. Incluye equipo de Wi-Fi y garantía de precio de 2 años en tu plan. No esperes. Cámbiate hoy a Cox. Requiere Cox Mobile Gig Unlimited. Garantía de precio no incluye impuestos y cargos. Velocidad de datos móviles se reduce después de 20 gigas al mes.